that's an exciting bit where we're going to be sort of a prototyping agency again for this strategic plan. So, Jordan's got some very interesting stuff that he's been working on, and he's going to give us a presentation.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jordan Romano. I'm a student at Liberty at the moment. I'm interning under Steve. He's teaching me the real-world applications of IT and how to apply it in business. I have an exciting project to present today. This is just a picture of Wanda and I, one of our customer service representatives. Here we're going over what we currently have on the website, which is called Chatra. It's a messenger app for customers to communicate with a live agent. So the project is a AI chatbot, and the purpose of that is to give 24/7 coverage when GLTC is closed. So when no one is there to answer questions, there's a line of support for writers to go to on the website and get the answers they need. And a big part of that is also the instantaneous response they can get from the chatbot. So there's no delay. So if one of the customer service representatives is busy, on the phone, and usually writers, they need a response for their questions pretty quickly. So that would be instantaneous. It is open-ended, so it's exactly like talking to a live agent. Really no hoops to jump through. You just type in question, and I'll go over the artificial intelligence part of it here. First, so AI is just the ability for technology to mimic human behavior, and that's all it means in general. Here, how AI works, it matches the words in a conversation with information in its data bank, and after matching the words in that conversation, it delivers a canned response. So it'll understand the gist of what's being asked, regardless of typos or how you phrase it. It'll pick up on that. Good thing about having canned responses, it doesn't generate random responses, so you won't get any weird responses while having a conversation with it. Everything is scripted in-house. One of the main purposes of this project is also, the perspective on this is that companies like the Metro Transit Authority of New York City, San Francisco Metro Transit Authority, and Dash of Alexandria did not have AI chatbots. And actually, from my research, I didn't find a single transit company other than Amtrak that had a chatbot. Amtrak outsourced the implementation of their chatbot, and they saw an 800% return on that investment, even though they paid an outside company for it. And they also have seen 600% engagement from customers on their website. So it's been very effective at answering questions. And just quick example here. This is the New York City website. So just, and the statistics I put are part of a case study. So the 800% increase and all that. So this is the chatbot I built in-house. So currently GLTC has sole ownership, no paid licensing was needed. So everything that was used is open source. And here's just a live demo. This is just a screenshot of the website, how it would appear. So in the corner there is chatbot icon. And over here at the top, the GLTC logo is actually a hyperlink to the homepage. So, customer writers on a different page, they click the logo, it takes them right back to the homepage. Show an example of that. So that's how it would appear on the website. And then the first button is the Transit Apps logo. And this button displays all the information they need to know about the Transit app. So This can be, of course, this is muted by default, but gives a rider all the information they need to know about the transit app. This links to the transit app's main page, opens up in a new tab. This is for iPhone and Android, so it's just, helpful for them to just increase engagement with the transit app. The second button is a button with information about the transfer station. I noticed that's a common question that's asked on Chatra. It's about the questions about the transfer station. So here is a Google Maps hyperlink as well, so that they can easily find directions to the transfer station. The third button displays information about fare types and what kind of fares we sell. And then the fourth button is, of course, help. So the help button is always useful whenever unique questions are asked, because the chatbot, of course, is not going to be able to answer very unique and complicated questions, but there's always a line to escalate it to email or phone. Now, the email portion of it is hyperlinked, so it pre-fills. All they would have to do is type the email and then sends directly to feedback, GLTC. If they're on an app, if they're on their phone, the phone number is also hyperlinked. So just clicking that would bring that up. So this is generally how it works.
I have a question.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. What are the business hours?
Oh, yeah. So I'm gonna actually put in a lot of typos just to demonstrate the part of what I mean by AI here. So what are your hours? If it doesn't understand, that's what pops up. So could you rephrase that and then redirects? So what are your hours? Start out with hi. That's generally how that would work. And as you can see, it replies very quickly. I know this question might be coming up, but maybe not. But are you open on Valentine's Day? So simple questions like that. I lost my ticket, and so an ADA question: can I bring my wheelchair? And then some other interesting features. How do I apply for paratransit? The hope is that the app would integrate different parts of the website, so those forms are easily accessible. So of course, they're provided with the form they need to fill out. If they press more info, then it would take them directly to the full paratransit page with all the information. Common question from my classmates would be, can Liberty students ride for free, for example? So it's a question like that. And then how do I apply for half fare? So that's another form.
How about going to Walmart?
How do I get to Walmart? So, there are 3 Walmarts, so that's popular destinations are in there. So if a customer wanted to get to Target, the hospital, the DMV, those really popular destinations, it will tell them what bus to take. So those questions, it can definitely answer. And let's say we wanted to get to the Old Forest Road one, you would just, you take the Route 8 bus for that. And here's an extra feature that I wanted to show, and so it does speak Spanish, and it continues in that open-ended fashion, as in you don't have to go into settings or change anything. You just, in fact, if you just pulled it up and started speaking Spanish to it, it would pick up on that. So this means how much is a month? Or question, I almost forget how to spell this in Spanish, but my wife helped me a little bit on this because she speaks Spanish, but same question, just, about, can you bring your wheelchair? Stuff, about the PTS, in Spanish. And, say thank you. And goodbye. All right.
Can you, is there an option? I mean, because this is, first of all, let me say, this is fantastic. Love
Thank you.
this. Great work. Is there a way to make it so like if somebody had difficulty, like they were blind or trouble, couldn't speak it, can you?
Yes, that's a great question. And right now, it actually does work with a digital reader. The only thing, it needs some tweaking with the ordering. So usually, digital reader will go in order and read through the chat. So we're working on perfecting the order that it reads the conversation. And so it doesn't overwhelm also, because it does read it, but it just, don't want it to read everything.
Would it also work for the deaf or hearing impaired?
So for that, yes, it's just, for visual purposes, yeah.
And one of the other features about this is Jordan's looking at some adding in some integration. So when we get our time feed, that we have the ability to actually say, can you tell me where the Route 4 bus is right now? And it will tell you. We still want people to use transit app as well for that data, but it can tell you, hey, what stops are just right around my area. It just pulls up the Google search. So it's a way for people to just quickly get some information. Jordan's even explored having it, being able to do, just talk to them, use speech to text on that. So.
Right. Yeah, speech to text is also in the works right now. So this is compared to Chatra, the messenger app that's on the website. So these are real questions that are sent in to our live agents. So this is how it answers those lengthier questions and different phrasing. So over here, what am I supposed to do? If the machine's broken. So it'll escalate that issue to email and phone. And then the second question, of course, is no one answered. So again, the AI aspect of that determined that since someone said no one answered, it could be that it was out of business hours. And the help button's always there, if they need to contact someone.
So Chatra currently is chatting with a live agent.
Yes, only with live agents at the moment. Yeah.
Is there an avenue to get from the AI to a live agent still?
So that at the moment, with this, the way it's built right now, there is no way to get to a live agent through chat with the bot at the moment. But that can be added as well. Yeah.
But I use a lot of, that's how I engage with a lot of companies now is chat instead of calling, because they sit there on the phone. But the AI is limited. So when you hit that loop where you're asking the same question, just asking for clarification, being able to pull the trigger so you can get to the live agent when you need to.
Right, yeah, be able to escalate it through chat again, yeah. So
What would the,
Yeah.
what would you envision the intake being for a chat customer, right? Would they all start with Ask GLTC, and then if they can't get resolution, would it during business hours escalate to Chatra, or can you come in via Ask GLTC or Chatra?
So we haven't quite gotten there yet. So part of what today is to see if the board thinks that this is worth us continuing to invest in. I mean, this is, I'd say free, but because this is taking about 2 months of Jordan's time. I mean, so that it's not free, but we haven't paid any license fees or anything else. If we want to continue integrating, we want to make it work with Chatra, we might have some integration fees there and stuff. But staff feels that this is a very worthwhile endeavor to answer some of those questions, because, and I don't know, Jordan, if you have the number, but I'd say a fair percentage of our questions that come through Chatra are very routine.
Right, yeah, they were repetitive and just generally, and everywhere I've noticed, customer service generally tends to answer the same question over again, in most times, Of course, the unique questions are always like you said, the AI gets hung up on.
Yeah.
That needs escalation, but for the majority, it's just, common questions.
So going back to that, board feels that this is a good avenue to continue working on. We would explore more of those integrations, which may have some level of cost, but this is something that is unique. Like Jordan said, we've not found any other transit agency in the country that appears to be doing this. So this would be a first for us. And also going back to just, improving the customer service, getting those quick responses when people are, they get on there at 9:00 at night and say, hey, are you closed tomorrow on Christmas Eve? We're not, but it's on our website as well, but you have to search for it. And a lot of people are just, hey, give me an answer quick. So we think that this fills a large portion of that.
I think you branded as Ask Jordan, not Ask GLTC.
I appreciate that.
I think the one thing that hasn't been talked about that we want to make sure that we're exploring as we continue that is sustainability and maintenance. You talk about 1,500 lines of code and what that looks like, writing all of those. You go away, there's updates, changes to policy, those sorts of things that need to be made over time. And so what does that process look like? How sustainable is that for staff to be able to continue to maintain and update that as we go? I think that's the other thing to make sure we look at.
Yeah, and one piece about it is that Jordan's been doing this in Python and stuff, so there's, that's an open source. It's not like we're using a proprietary set of hardware or software and stuff. So that's one of the benefits of this, is that there are some ways that we can continue to maintain this, and that's part of what we would explore. That's the other part Jordan got to, is the fun part of software design, is the documentation part. So
Yeah.
Comment the code.
yeah,
Right.
So, but today's demonstration was just to see if the board thinks that this is something that we should continue to invest time and effort and maybe eventually some money into. So, and on a personal level, I think this is a good thing for us. And frankly, as we deploy this, I would like to make a case as we get this deployed, that since this is the first use of this type of technology in transit, that this is something that we could use to go after some of the national awards, which we've won in the past. So for innovative use of technology, advertising, customer service as well. We won some of those awards in the past, and I'd like to pursue that again with this.
From my perspective, it's fantastic. I don't know a lot about that kind of stuff. I'm sure it would defer a lot of that to Randy. He's as much work a geek, I believe, than I am. But yeah, it's.
No, geek is actually the preferred term.
Yeah, well, it's even more exciting that, that it's the very first, I think, taking advantage of that when we're talking about PR or getting that information out when can I ask it, Jordan, can I ask it, hey, Google, is Route 9 running today at GLTC? Will it link to the Ask GLTC? Will Google link to that's what I know most people would be doing. It's hey Siri, is Route 9 running at GLTC?
Right, and that's a great question. It's and that with Equans, so since Equans is integrating all the systems, and it is providing us with data that we'll update whether the bus is going to be there 2 minutes late or what time it's really going to be there. By integrating that data that we're getting from Equans with the chatbot, it'll be able to answer those precise questions. So when is my bus getting
So
here?
it will soon, you can't do it right now, but that
No,
is
yeah.
the route.
Correct.
It's gonna be that easy that, hey, Google, is bus 8 on time today?
Yes.
And,
Or route 9 on time today?
yeah, and so, and as far as the text-to-speech part of it, Jordan has started some preliminary work. We're not ready to show that today, but yes, he started some preliminary work so that you could literally just say, hey, tell me what holidays GLTC is not running, and it'll pull that up.
Right.
So immediately, I think somebody asked about the maintainability of it. Is there any immediate cost that we're talking about other than that? I mean, we've heard it, for me, it's fantastic. Is there any, cost membership to, any of the organizations that you said Equine or whatever? Is that a free service or is that?
Equans is our AVL provider. So
Right.
the GTFS feed, it started off as the Google Transit feed specification. Now it's general transit feed specification. So that is what by default that everybody was using, that became the open source standard. So GTFS is an open source standard. So Equans will push our data in that standard out. And in fact, that's how they ingest it into their various pieces. So like all of our signs going out, the monitors down here, they all ingest real-time GTFS feed.
So we already own it. And there's no
It'll be, yes, so no additional fees for that. Now, like we were talking about integrating Chantra, there might be a fee for that because we use that program from that company to do the responses and all that. So there may be a fee, there may not. We'll have to explore that. We haven't gotten there. And as we get into other things, if we wanted to do more esoteric things or we want to have other integrations, we might have some fees as we explore those. But right now, yes, it's all open source. All of the data is owned by us. So.
Yeah, so it was built from scratch, so a lot of things can be tweaked about it. Any ideas definitely welcome. A lot of it can be changed. And also, I just overheard during the conversation about, hiring and whatnot, and advertising would cover a little bit of that. So in terms of marketing within the actual front end design of the chatbot, there could be a banner, we are hiring, that just displays, for example, under the header, or during the conversation, there could be advertising. Example of that would be if we were to integrate Google Places, for example, or Google Maps, and you asked it, what restaurants are nearby? It would, give you a list of places nearby. So just in terms of advertising marketing, it could be integrated with either the design of it or within the conversation.
What chicken place is going to get to on the bus?
Yeah. And then I know a big thing is also audit logs to track how well it's received by customers, how well it's being used, and then just how it's doing during conversations. So audit logs will be able to provide those reports so that usage can be tracked and how helpful it's really being to the riders. So that's one thing that would also be added in. More languages. I know there isn't a second major language in Lynchburg. I know Josh pointed out that there is a large Korean population. So, language like Korean could be added. Soft buttons, what I mean by that is buttons within the conversation itself rather than just on the button bar. So that would be just easier, just, click it within the conversation, yeah.
The opportunity to include at the end of conversations, quick feedback mechanisms to say, was your issue resolved, that sort of thing, so you can start to get run ready for successful resolution sort of stuff.
Yeah, and that can be implemented. And I've actually, along with speech and text, so these top two here, speech and text and soft buttons, I already have a beta version of the bot that I've been testing and just working on with that. So there's limited speech to text functionality right now, just started working on that, and then soft buttons also just the
Well,
layout.
soft buttons, if when you asked it to take me to, to tell me about Route 8 to Old Forest Road, it recommended out Route 8, so I should be able to touch that Route 8 and bring up a map and show me even the nearest stop to me, I mean,
Twitter here.
it's not.
Show his last tweet.
Come to the transfer station, I might be closer to any stop on Route 8, right?
Yeah, and that's actually, it's perfect that you mentioned that. So one of the first soft button that I actually have in the beta version is what nearby bus stops are there? So that was probably a button a lot of people will press is like what, just to find out what's the closest bus stop. And that would really pull that information from Google Maps. Because Google Maps is, I'm probably what people use for that. Or just the
Route
closest.
8 bus stop.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
So that's
it's
something,
got
yeah.
a generic, when you ask that, it looks in like a 500-foot or quarter-mile range. It just shows them on the map. So it just, pulls that
Pretty easy
from
to do.
It'd be similar to the transfer station button when that displayed the mini map. So it could be done that way, or it could be done as part of the conversation.
But always
Just a little, yeah.
remember, the chatbot has a hidden agenda. It's trying to get the customer independent of us by going to the transit apps. Once they start getting used to that transit app, they go to chatbot, and it pushes them over to that transit app. They say, well, I might as well load this up. And pretty soon, they just start going to the transit app.
It's an education tool.
It elevates the ridership to start using technology. Being an IT guy, I'm always for technology. But a lot of times society doesn't leverage it properly and they make excuses for people saying, well, they don't know how to use it. Well, actually, they do use it. We just have to make them more accountable to using it. And like I said, with Jordan's, and he spearheaded this whole thing. So your LU students are rather aggressive out there. So my hat's off to you. This, I think, is a future. It was shocking to me when we found out that there was very little chatbots out there. We assumed that everybody has it, but when you really look at it, you see Fortune 500 companies have it. This is starting to come down to what I call the mom and pop era. And it would be sort of fun to get one up on some people.
So I just have a question. So it says, because it says like, contacted us during normal business hours, and then you ask what the hours are, and then it goes for the hours of the bus. And then on the GLTC website, you go to like the little chat box we currently have, and it's like Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. So can I make the suggestion that when it says contact us during normal business hours, that you put in the normal business hours?
Yeah, of course. So at the very beginning, when you pull up the chatbot, it would display hours, just like
Well,
chat.
just like when there's one line where it says like, you can
Yeah.
email us, call us,
Yes.
or
I
contact.
know what you're talking about. So
And I would suggest saying, contact us during, it says normal business hours, and then say what those normal business hours are,
Yes.
because when you ask what are the hours, it had the hours the bus runs, which is what I think it should say there when you ask what are the hours.
Right.
But when it's talking about contacting us during normal business hours, it's specified what those normal business hours are.
Yep.
Yeah, and part of this is just, we're going through that as we go through and learn, put stuff in, find things that we want to tweak and just tweak the language. So just in the interest of time, does anybody have any other questions? So we're gonna keep pursuing this. Yes. So I did have item 6B as new business, and then we did have a small closed session piece. And I did also want to mention Alec has come in from CVPDC, so introduce Alec there. And do we want to go ahead through 6B, or do we want to table it? I think it could be a fairly quick, the closed session would be fairly quick, but I just do have some questions. For 6B, we are proposing some updates to our ride rules. Unfortunately, in the last 3 or 4 months, we've had a change in some of the customers who are spending large amounts of time with us. And they are tending to be a little bit more disruptive than some of our previous ones. We've always had customers who were unhoused that would spend large parts of the day with us. Typically, though, they would